Hi, I'm Richard Hudson. This is about my onboard welding rig, what I use for little welding jobs. And at the moment, I've got it all in the dinghy. It isn't much of a rig, but I weld directly from batteries. I've just got cloth protecting the positive terminals. These are the ship's batteries. There's nothing really special about them. The helmet, pretty much all the gear except the batteries fits in a little bag, because this doesn't take up much space. Wire brush, some vice grips, welding rods, gloves, chipping hammer. This is to tighten the connections on the batteries. And this is the welding rig itself is just, I've got 4 meters of cable, both for the electrode holder, the stinger, this one, just a normal one, with 4 meters of cable on it, and then there's 4 meters cable that I use for the ground clamp. And I attach the ground clamp to the steel with this, or with the vice grips, whatever works. And I get the welding helmet. And then there's cables to go between the batteries. So the thing about welding with batteries is it's a real hack way of welding. It does work, but you don't have all the adjustments that a machine gives you. So it's a lot harder. So it's harder, and you just don't have all the adjustments the machine gives you. So you have to make do. And the only adjustment you really get is the state of charge of the batteries, and whether you've got 1, 2, or 3 batteries hooked together. And that's your only control over welding. So if I was a better welder, I would do better job of welding, but that's also, if I had a better welding machine, I would do a better job of welding. However, this one is small and easy to carry. It doesn't weigh a lot, and it's something I use for little jobs on board. Especially I use it to change the anodes, the zinc underwater, when I dry out the boat or haul out the boat. That's the biggest job I have for it. I've done some other welding on deck with it. I don't know all that much about welding. I've kind of taught myself and asked people and watched people, and I've never really taken a course in welding, so my welding skills are mediocre at best. However, this rig works for me. I don't necessarily recommend it for anyone else. I try and do things as safe a way as I can. However, I have my doubts that if I asked the manufacturer if their batteries could be used for welding, they'd probably tell me that you're not supposed to do that. There's a bunch of things that you have after welding with batteries for a while. I became very respectful of the power in batteries, and I'm very cautious. You don't see, I just took it off for the video, but normally I keep at least one terminal covered, because I don't ever want to drop a tool across the battery terminals and short circuit it out. These things have a lot of power in them, and I've learned to respect the amount of power that welding, the batteries have in them as a result of welding with them. It's very important to have tight connections, otherwise you can melt the posts, and then they could melt. That could cause the case to melt. It could cause an explosion. I mean, you really have to think about, if you're going to weld with batteries, you really have to think about all the possible scenarios where things can go wrong. Too much heat. So you got to have tight connections, and you don't want to be like on top of the batteries. You want to be a little away, just in case something went massively wrong, like you accidentally shorted them out, like dropped something on them. You don't want a battery exploding. It's bad enough if it leaks. It's bad enough if it just melts the post, and then you can't use it again. But you don't want to deal with battery acid, hot battery acid. And then just welding around water. You're dealing with electrical currents, so you got to think about that too. So this is not necessarily a recommendation. So this is what you do in a remote area if you have weld-on anodes like I do. Actually, I have a couple that are bolt-on, which are a lot easier to change. Like that one's a bolt-on anode. The reason I don't use bolt-on anodes all that much is you got a good connection if it's welded. If it's bolted on, you've got to scrub it, and with the wire brush you got to scrub it, and you try hard to get a good clean connection, but you don't know for sure. If it's welded, you know the current's going through. So welded is kind of the best for this metal boat, or steel boat at least. And what I'm going to do today is, as we haven't tried out completely yet, but this anode needs to be replaced. This is my new anode. They come with the tabs. They're just mild steel. I've ground them, that's why they're shiny. They're straight. I bent one to make it fit, and I just checking if I have to bend the other. I'm just going to put this on top of the other one. Okay, so I think, hope you can see this, I think I'm gonna weld here and here. Okay, so I'm happy with how I've bent the tabs on this, and I'm considering this prepped enough. We are got about an hour and a half before low water. I am hoping that the water goes all the way out. I don't have to be in the water to do this, but that may or may not happen. I may just do this from the dinghy. I don't want to be running a power tool while I'm standing in water. I'm going to move these batteries out of the dinghy and onto the dry land. So I will be in the dinghy and the batteries will be on dry land. I am just going to weld on the top, maybe down a little. I'm not going to go underneath and weld. I want a little less water. So we are going to continue this. Once you've hooked to the batteries, you are live. There's no, you got to be thinking about electrical currents where you are. And we are right around water. So think a lot about electrical currents. Yeah, it's real important on these battery connections that they have to be tight. They must be tight. Okay. No sparks. So there's I haven't done anything really stupid and connected things together. Always good to do such a sanity check. And this is what the finished weld looks like. Because my camera battery ran down, I don't have a good image of it. So what I'll do is I'll show you another time when I was welding anodes on in a boatyard using the same rig, the same two batteries hooked up in series for 24 volts. And this is how the finished weld looked. It's functional. Well, that's it for this video. If you liked it, please give it a like and subscribe. If you got a question or want to leave a comment, please leave a comment. And keep sailing.